Ever wondered what makes TV so powerful in Jamaica? Time to find out. Welcome to Global TV Group 358, where television meets innovation. We're not just about shows, we're about shaping society. In Jamaica, TV keeps you informed, connects diverse voices, and supports democracy. Imagine a Jamaica where broadcasters unite, sharing data and collaborating globally. That's us, a unified voice in the TV industry. Did you know TV advertising is still king? It drives website traffic, boosts brand equity, and powers integrated campaigns. Even in an age of digital, TV stands strong, resilient in tough times. Our global TV deck is your treasure trove of insights and data. With charts, graphs, and success stories, it's your guide to impactful TV advertising. Curious to learn more? Visit our website and see how Global TV Group 358 keeps television at the heart of entertainment in Jamaica. Get ready to binge watch the future.
Corruption is a vile disease that sucks and drains the health out of something good. Corruption in society is an evil moral infection that keeps community in the state of perpetual sickness. Corruption is a moral virus. It's so potent, it leaves its host sick, lethargic, and unable to realize and accomplish all that a well person can. Where corruption thrives, poverty and not prosperity thrives. Wealth is grabbed into the greedy, grubby hands of those who get fat on the toil and labor of good people. Corruption benefits only temporarily those who participate in it. Everyone else is a victim of the theft, the deceit, the dishonesty, and the lies that corruption feeds on. You need to know that a corrupt person is stealing from you. Corruption is filthy work and despicable acts of treachery done under the table and behind closed doors. Corruption is a disgusting shame. Corruption keeps a nation back from true development and from progress. Wise investors steer clear of a corrupt environment. They would rather put their resources into a place where the playing field of opportunity is equal for all and not bent towards feeding the financial lust of corrupt, lying, cheating, thieving politicians and government officials. How many wonderful development projects have been lost because the investors didn't want to do business in a swamp of evil? When those great projects go to another nation or to some other place, we all lose. Believe me when I tell you that corruption steals from you, it steals from all of us. Corruption plunders the nation's wealth. Corrupt people compromise on truth, equity, and fairness, choosing instead to feed off the short-term benefits of crookedness, exploitation, and financial perversion. Corruption is not just a personal matter, it's a culture. It's a way of life, not just for individual people, but for companies, communities, governments, and nations. Corrupt nations, hiding behind large companies, will seek to invest in other weak nations in order to take over the assets of the nation that they've invested into. They will provide financial loans to a nation for the much-needed infrastructure, and they will do it with assets that they provide. They will sign contracts by lining the pockets of rotten government officials who participate in this kind of corruption and are then held hostage by their own deceit and greed. Corruption is nothing less than a form of theft and national robbery. A corrupt person steals from everyone in society.
Ghetto, run, keep going on, let's process. For children of Israel do really love rights. So just say and I say watch a man around Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I she never hold thy peace. What wrong is going on? Hey, oh, we gotta bust down Babylon walls. Prepare and read the way. Prepare and read the way for your people. Let's go. Fight down, war and crime. Fight down, me say Rastafari. War and crime and do that righteousness. And we love God. And we love God. Jah, Jah Rastafari. We love Jah, Jah, Jah Rastafari. Save all people. Yeah, we love Jah. We love Jah, Jah, Jah Rastafari. We love Jah, Jah, Jah Rastafari. Preserve all people. Put time away again. Listen, yeah. Just as I and I say, watch your man, I run Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I should never hold thy peace, while we are penalized. Hey, oh, night. We gonna bust down Babylon gates. Prepare the way, prepare the way for Jah Rastafari. Fight down war and crime, fight down war and crime. Rastafari, war and crime, and build up righteousness. And we love Jah, and we love Jah, Jah Rastafari, and we love Jah, Jah Rastafari. Preserve all, and we love Jah, Jah Rastafari. Me love Jah, Jah Rastafari. Me love Jah, Jah Rastafari. Preserve all. Me love Jah Rastafari. Jah Rastafari. Jah Rastafari. Yeah, the next song is going to be the last song for tonight. And then DJ Twink.
Gunboat diplomacy has always been America's way. From hijacking oil ships to kidnapping presidents and their wives, America has always behaved in this fashion. We're going to discuss with you this evening our understanding of what is unfolding in Venezuela. Arresting President Maduro does not mean regime change. Regime change means America will have to put boot on the ground. Donald Trump says we are in charge. Marco Rubio is saying something much different. The question, though, who is next? Will it be Cuba, Nigeria? Who will it be next that America will lift up out of their country at their own behest? We'll also question Donald Trump on the CIA tonight as well. Good night and welcome to Global TV. Thank you all for joining us. We did not come out in yesterday breaking story because for the truth is Donald Trump was the one who was breaking the story, and I will not speak after Donald Trump. Now that Venezuela, Russia, China, North Korea, and everybody is coming out and speaking, then I can gather my understanding and my thoughts on what is happening. But all in all, this is a violation of Article 2, Paragraph 4 of the UN Charter that will also explain to you tonight as well. I am sure that the legal team of Nicaragua is also preparing their legal document to take the Americans to court as well. They are on good footing on this because of their 1986 ruling against the Americans. Stand by tonight and we will explore. We're also asking what is Andrew Holness' opinion on Donald Trump's latest gunboat diplomacy and the People's National Party as ally to the Maduro regime. What are your thoughts? Good night. Welcome to Global TV, to my community of party and all my family members, platform moderators, membership holders, viewers, subscribers, commenters, and trolls. Good evening. Welcome one and all. Thank you all for joining us this evening. I told you as well, read that document Marco Rubio published in September, America First Health Strategy. And just read the AI version, the key points that AI would pick out for you. And when you read that document, ask Andrew Holness, In return for the $6.7 billion, what have you given up to Trump and Marco Rubio? We will also explore the China and America warfare within our region. Sorry about that. Thank you very much. Debbie Jervis TV, good evening. Marcia Thomas, good evening and welcome. Colleen, good evening. Lawrence Michaels, good evening. Lynette Jenkins, Sophia Hall, good evening. Miranda Ruddock, Barbara Simpson, Charlotte Graham, good evening. Canadian Girl, good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Patricia Matthews, good evening, and welcome. Will Trump attack Nigeria? Will Trump attack Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, the Sahel Alliance? Where next? Highly favored. Good evening. Mary Woodstock Smith, good evening. Thank you very much for your donation and your continuous support to Global TV. Thank you very much appreciated. Paulette Lewis, good evening and welcome. Now, where do we start this evening? Because there's a lot of questions to ask. Now, let us first look at what international law says here in relation to what Donald Trump just did in Venezuela. And this is covered in international law under Article 2, Paragraph 4 of the UN Charter. This is the cornerstone for the UN, for the United Nations prohibition of other states getting involved in the domestic matters of other states. Young DT, Wagwan, how you doing? So this piece of legal area is covered by Article 2, Paragraph 4 of the UN Charter, which prohibits all United Nations member states from threat or use of force in international relations against the territorial integrity or political independence of another state, or in any manner inconsistent with the United Nations purpose, primarily maintain peace and security. This article ensures sovereignty, equality, and requires state to settle dispute peacefully. That part meaning Donald Trump should have, and the Americans should have taken this matter to the United Nations General Assembly as well as the United Nations Security Council, making it fundamental to international law through the interpretation and application of complex debate. Right. Now, these are the key aspects of Article 2, subparagraph 4. Prohibition of force. It forbids any state to threaten or use armed force against another state when it's come to settling such a dispute, which there is no dispute. Everybody knows Donald Trump narco-terrorism argument is a lousy pretext for regime change. Separate, the one that George Bush came with that 45 minutes, with that stinging speech that Colin Powell gave in the United Nations, fooling us at that time. There was some meat on the bone for us who bought the argument then. But this was a flimsy argument. Besides, Donald Trump was whiffing and waffing. At one point, he blatantly tell us, as we know, it's about the oil, and then the pretense is on narco terrorism to do their lineup within the region. So one of it's that it's forbid the prohibition of the use of force against another state to solve domestic dispute. Territorial integrity and political independence. The prohibition is specifically aimed at protecting a state borders and self-governance. So even if Maduro in a drugs trafficking, it's something that the Venezuelan authority under international law ought to deal with, not the Americans. If it is that the Americans are fighting narco trafficking, then what the Americans ought to do is to turn their attention to Big Pharma and their executive, because too many Americans are addicted to pharmaceutical drugs. So that pretext, all we did know from day one, said nothing don't go so. Consistency within UN purpose. Any use of force must align with the broader goal of the United Nations, meaning something that they should have done in Palestine, like try to prevent a genocide or so on. This is where America should have used that type of force, but certainly against Israel, they will not do so. Sovereign equality. What sovereign equality means? President Trump and Maduro carries the same status. America and Venezuela carries the same status. Sovereign equality. It reinforces the principle that all member states are equal regardless of size or power. So when it comes to sovereign equality under international law, your big economy, your big army, and all that under international law doesn't really matter. But does it though? Oh no, sorry, let me drink some pepper tea and it choke me. Lord globalist, uno no one there. What going in the weather over here? Uno certainly no one there. If you drink pepper tea, if you get feel hot, sweat the way how heating in the house no really make no sense with what one out of war under there. So you understand what sovereign equality means. Exception, implicit and explicit. While Article 2.4 is a strong prohibition, exception exists. Most notable, self-defense. Now, under international law, from the time Trump is threatening Maduro, Maduro then could have invoked Article 51 of the United Nations Charter, the self-defense article, a state inherent right to self-defense against attack. So while Donald Trump keeps threatening Venezuela all this time and mustering around the region, it gives Venezuela the power to start attacking America's ship. Say it was an equal power like China, Russia, or even a person like North Korea. it gives them the right immediately to start bombing America's ship in lining up around them while being threatened by the American president. Their retaliation would be protected under Article 1. And if they are to take Russia to court, I'm sure Russia will be using the Article 1 defense because of the whole NATO encroachment as well. I hope this whole geopolitics, international law is not too heavy for you. No, like them thing, yeah, but we are mixed up in it as well. We in a few stage, it a play out pan. Them can come closer next. We've been asking the question from where they may go get back to this, but we've been asking the question from where they why the Department of War Under Secretary come to Jamaica? Now, if you listen to Marco Rubio in the press conference, what they come out with after them capture, after they kidnapped President Maduro, Marco Rubio went straight to what they're uncomfortable with in Cuba. Now, there could also be a new pretext building to go after Cuba because it's all about demolishing China's influence within the region. You see, they allow force Panama to roll back a deal. They are now in control of Jamaica. They've kidnapped the Venezuelan president. Could it be Cuba next? If it is Cuba next, will Jamaica be a launch pad for an attack on Cuba? If it is Cuba next, will Jamaica be a partner in providing them launch pad to attack Cuba? These are questions we have to be asking because we see we leaders them a hug up and love up with them. If we don't understand geopolitics, my peeps, we're going to be lost in a lot of the wrangles we're going on now. We soon get to what is happening in Venezuela. We just try to get you to understand the legality of everything we want. So we look at the self-defense, the UN Council authorization. Now, there are times also when the United Nations Council authorize whether it be a peacekeeping force or an interventionist force, which would be passed under a United Nations resolution. So those are the exceptions: self-defense and a United Nations Security Council authorization. Those are the only two exceptions where you can use, another state can use force against another state in such a dispute as is unfolding between America and Venezuela at the moment. While we are looking at the legality of things, let me just deal with the Nicaragua side of things, which I'm sure if there's anybody that is in this country that is going to take a case to the International Court of Justice, it will be Nicaragua. Nicaragua, you know, they had their past with America, and they have taken America to the International Court of Justice in the 80s, which they had a successful ruling against the Americans for violation of international law by supporting a rebel group that wanted to overthrow the then Nicaraguan government. The ruling, what came out of the ruling, the Nicaragua versus United States, 1986. Nicaragua accused the United States of funding and training rebel groups against the Nicaraguan government and mining within the Nicaraguan port, violating Nicaraguan sovereignty and international law. The ICJ ruled on behalf of Nicaragua, finding the U.S. had violated the principles of non-intervention and prohibition of use of force by supporting the rebels and the lay mining. That in international law, it was a landmark ruling case against America, but there's always a but. In that ruling, the Americans were ordered to pay reparations to Nicaragua. If you can remember when I used to teach geopolitics, I told you before that the Americans literally have no regards for international law and do not sign up to a lot of these treaties. Institutions like the International Criminal Court, the ICC, and the ICJ, the International Court of Justice, the Americans are not a signatory to them. So in the Nicaragua ruling, the Americans rejected the jurisdiction of the ICJ, meaning I don't sign up to you, so you have no legal authority to pass judgment on me. Neither did the Americans pay the reparation because they do not recognize the jurisdiction of the International Court of Justice. This is the great American democracy, the same democracy that they want to impose in Venezuela. Because the people you see rejoicing in Venezuela is the JLP fraction. Because if you understand, Maduro coming from Chavez is the socialist, the PNP aligned Venezuela. And then you have the Machado, the one Guaido, and the other. They're like the JLP capitalist type. Those are the people that is rejoicing. However, we'll get to that. Let me finish with the legalities. Now, why I'm depending on Nicaragua to take this to the International Court of Justice is that on the footing of their 86 case, they took a case to the International Court of Justice last year, not last year because we're in 2026 now, 2004, and this was against Germany. This was against Germany, and this was in violation of the Genocide Convention. And the court issued, Nicaragua filed a case against Germany, accusing Germany of violating the Genocide Convention through its support for Israel in the Gaza conflict. This case is an ongoing issue in front of the ICJ at the moment. I'm sure, though, that with such clear violations of intervention and use of force, this is something that Nicaragua will be taken to the International Court. Don't know which other courts, which other country rather, would be signing up as a complainant along with Nicaragua. But I'm looking forward for Nicaragua to take this to court. Now, let's move to the current scenario in Caracas as I understand it. Yes, President Maduro have been arrested and his wife have been arrested by the Americans. About 40 as we're hearing, because I'm using the information I'm getting out of Venezuela. I'm following people who've interviewed journalists from Nicaragua, so from Venezuela. So those are the information I'm going on, because I refuse to follow Donald Trump information as they're never straight or true. Now, yes, President Maduro is arrested. As per the Venezuelan constitution, though, and the current situation on the ground, this is not regime change. The Chavez and Maduro people are still in charge. Now, there's conflict of information where Trump saying we're running Venezuela. Marco Rubio is saying we're not, we won't be governing Venezuela, but we will press for change through the oil blockade. So that's conflicting information from Marco Rubio and Donald Trump. But what the Venezuela vice president have had a press conference as well, and she's saying while she is in charge now, Maduro is still the elected president and still the president of Venezuela. Now, for the Americans to do a regime change and putting people like Juan Guaido or Machado, it's more than what they have conducted in the kidnapping. That's what we ought to call it, kidnapping of President Maduro. Because the socialist fraction from the Chavez to Maduro is the higher voting bloc of Venezuela, a population of about 30 million people, rather. So for America to do a regime change, like overthrowing socialism, because you must understand that it is not socialism that has been overthrown in Venezuela by Donald Trump. They have kidnapped President Maduro. They have not overthrown socialism. Chavez and Maduro people are still in charge of Venezuela. You also hear Donald Trump went on to threaten the vice president of Venezuela if she don't comply, So I hope you understand, because I see the PNP, I see the labor right them on social media are rejoice like socialism is been overthrown in Venezuela. No, not so fast. Agency, wanna go on, how you do, bro? Not so fast. Socialism is not being overthrown in Venezuela. President Maduro has been kidnapped. If you are to do regime change, you have to impose one of these cronies like the one Guaido or the Machado. And then President Maduro people would have to go quiet, as well as the army and the security forces who are loyal to Maduro will have to switch sides. Now, the big question is, has Maduro been sold out? Of course. The way it was done, as sold out, beyond the CIA operation, which I will question in a bit, is involved. For them to take a president so easy, there are high officials within the Maduro presidential team who sold out President Maduro. Given that Donald Trump has ordered CIA action, I believe, from about October, early November in Venezuela, let's shift a bit back to the Indonesian earthquake and the UFO, the unidentified flying object. Stay with me here. I'm getting a bit loonified at the moment, but stay with me. Now, many of you would not have followed the UFO hearing in Congress or a lot of the UFO investigation that was going on. You remember the UFO sightings that were very popular last year? Stay with it. Now, within the UFO investigation and testimony taken in Congress and all of that, there was one of the military guy who was in Indonesia at the time of the earthquake, when, you know, that massive disaster in Indonesia. What he explained then in the UFO sighting and all of that, he explained an aerial vehicle that while they were deployed to Indonesia to assist with the whole disaster issue that was unfolding there, he described an aerial vehicle which they accidentally came upon within their mission. And what they were doing in that aerial vehicle is they were picking up children within the disaster zone, caging them, putting them into that, he described it as quite a big thing, as a football pitch. Everything looked like glass panel or thingy around it. And it was just hovering above ground. And then he said they watched it until after they packed everything. It said it had an open door and a ramp. And he said vehicle and everything drove into it. And then he said they watched it until the ramp went back in, the door closes, and the thing just slowly lifted without a sound. It hovered over the tree for a while, and then it just out of sight. Now, explaining that is so you understand the question I'm going to ask the Americans and the CIA and the Delta in their attack on Maduro. That vehicle I've just described, Tonoka, on a Black Hawk, on a nice Black Hawk, on a go over Venezuela with. The raid on the presidential palace. The raid on the Venezuela presidential palace, was it one of those unidentified vehicle on a use when a hand sound, where it can be invisible, where it can be hovering above your head, it can be hovering above trees, and you know see it, and you know say it did. If you follow the UFO hearing, the whole of them something that did come out in a Congress testimony and all of them something. If you don't follow them something they really know. The Americans really get up to a lot. And what the Americans do, they use their air superiority. Yes, and then me feel say them new alien technology, young DT, them use in the capture, the kidnapping of President Maduro. So I want to ask the CIA and the Americans, was that vehicle a part of the operation? Kind of black and that plane wanna send come to Jamaica where they with something wanna claim say there's something and not no go so. And then something they wanna come down from come attack Maduro and kill off him something them. Wanna come out of them vehicle there when they have no sound colonize. But what Donald Trump and the deep state was hoping for, it's not actualized, because they were hoping for an eruption in the Venezuela society which not quite so. Why? Even those who hate Hugo Chavez and Maduro, they hate the Americans more, especially that Donald Trump, even remember Donald Rumsfeld told us years ago that it wasn't their fault that God put America oil under the ground of other countries. Unlike other America's president, which uses a pretext of humanitarian or terrorism to go to invade your country to get to your oil field, Donald Trump, the idiot, the undiplomatic idiot, will just stand in the square and tell you, this is about oil. It's all about the oil. You may be asking yourself, will they drop bomb on Jamaica? Oh, no, they certainly will. Their crony has given over our country to them. But the labor rights of Venezuela, so you understand the fraction that is against Maduro, they are waking up to find out, because of Donald Trump's brazen behavior, that we have given away our oil to the jug snorting Americans. The oil won't be coming to us. Even though Donald Trump is telling the Venezuelan people, we're going to put money in your pocket. But you're not being able to put the money in the pocket of Americans, Donald Trump. And you think you're going to put money in Venezuelan pocket when you're kidnapping president and hijacking oil ship? But for those of you of the younger generation who doesn't really understand America, rule of law, human rights, democracy, and all of the fuckery that America could come up with, now you're seeing it unfolding in front of your eyes. This is the way that they used to behave in slavery, and worse, during slavery. This is the way they flex their power and their muscle. Now, can this America criticize Russia if Russia wants to flatten Ukraine tomorrow morning? Can this America criticize China if China wants to take Taiwan tomorrow morning? You see the hypocrisy and the bullshit of America when America wants to police the world, when America is the only rogue. American Israel is the only rogue, because forget France, Britain, and all of those little yapping chihuahuas. They're nothing without America. They are broke, their army is depleted, their weapon is half cracked. Forget about the Europeans. They're nothing. That's why NATO is America. That's why NATO is America. No. 40 minutes of international bullshit. Let's turn to Jamaica. I wasn't following the news much to see what the other Caribbean leaders are saying. But while we are in the Caribbean region, but we are Jamaicans, let's cater to the Jamaica part of things. We saw when Andrew Holness was in South Africa. Andrew Holness gave his back into Donald Trump in the way Donald Trump was fighting so-called narco-terrorism by carrying out extrajudicial killing in the zone. Now, I would want to hear from Andrew Holness if Andrew Holness understands Article 2, subparagraph 4 of the United Nations Charter, if he agrees to Donald Trump kidnapping of a sovereign leader. And to the People's National Party, shame on you. One of your ally within the region has been attacked. International law, lawyers across the People's National Party, has been violated flagrantly in front of all of us. Do you not have anything to say? PNP, an ally to social democracy in the region. Do you not have a thing to say? No, sir. Murder, she wrote. Hmm? Hmm. I'm always of the opinion a world without American Israel would be much more peaceful than what we have now. You may disagree, but if you disagree, then you're going to disagree on the facts and on your conscience because you just have to look at the behavior of Israel and America. They're also mustering up to go to war with Iran again. That I will welcome because I know Tel Aviv will burn in a next war between Iran and Israel, maybe shorter than a 12-day war. Hmm? But until America is stopped, this world is going to turn topsy turvy. No, you understand the dying lion? It's exactly what America has become. The dying lion is just fighting its way out. Now, the more America and Donald Trump America's first and trade war policy, all that is doing is isolating America, one. Two, what that is doing is pushing more alliance to BRICS and binding people like China and India who have their long term issue. It's also allowing people like Russia and Iran to become even much more closer. Nicaragua, Brazil, and Chile, and all these other places, Cuba, within the Caribbean, are looking at the Americans side eye as well. They know because of the social democracy within their region, the Americans could be coming for them at any time. Jamaica did not just get away, Jamaica was overturned by an atomic environmental weapon, as you hear your prime minister regularly describes it. In the first attack on Jamaica, the Americans used starvation, food embargo, and violence. This time they did it quite much differently. They weaponized the environment and they took back control of Jamaica. From what I'm looking at, does Russia and China not have any interest in protecting their economic interests within these region, within the Caribbean and the South American region? Because if it is that they're not going to protect their allies, then this attack, the trade war Donald Trump has stepped up on China, because what they have done to Nicolas Maduro is about the trade war and China, because China have three big sources for oil: Russia, Venezuela, and Iran. The Chinese have major investment in Venezuela, major political support. In fact, just hours before Maduro was attacked, a Chinese convoy, a delegation, went to see Maduro. All, or a lot of the international leaders, are calling for the release of Maduro. Most, even Britain, does not support, because they all know Keir Starmer, as a former prosecutor and a DPP, does know that this is a violation of international law. You just do not have a defense for what Donald Trump has done. But if the International Court of Justice gave a ruling, it really doesn't matter. The Americans have no respect for law. Just sit tight and learn of the Americans. But it's important for us Jamaicans to understand, what is our leaders' word on this? It cannot be that they did not see, they don't business, they don't care, or it's not for them business. It's all of us business. It's really all of us business. So shame on the PNP for being so silent when capitalism is going on a tirade in their region. Shame on Mark Golding's silence. Shame on Mark Golding's leadership of silence to the corruption, the dismal leadership of the Andrew Holness regime. Because I'm not sure if the people of Jamaica are aware. Say Andrew Holness are drawn in a pyok. Where Andrew Holness are drawn in a Jamaica, it is going to destroy our relationships within the region. Because we see in Trump's first term, Andrew Holness took side with Donald Trump. That was what, slightly before Hugo Chavez died, isn't it? No, so Andrew Holness took side with Donald Trump and see the Donald Trump 2.0. With Donald Trump, if Donald Trump wants to talk about justice and rule of law, Donald Trump release the Epstein file them will show him a pedophile. That's what Donald Trump must do. From the Epstein file start come out, Donald Trump just a drop bomb in Nigeria, but he can drop bomb on the Nigerian presidential palace for all I care, because it would be what they invite. You see people like Andrew Holness, people like Andrew Holness, Tinubu, and what the Kenya dog shit name again? William Ruto. Them bendovers there. What happens to Maduro now go happen to them, because them a bend over. America just need to tell them to bend over and them bend over. No. If you remember during President Bush time, with President Bush opposition to John Aristide of Haiti, PJ Patterson intervened. It was PJ Patterson picked him up from Haiti, bring him to Jamaica, then fly him, assist him to South Africa, where he was exiled until he come back and win back the election again, and the American them force him out again. I, of Global, managing editor of Global TV, can tell you right here and right now that I have lost confidence in Mark Golding's leadership of the People's National Party. I have lost confidence in the People's National Party, because this is not the People's National Party that ought to protect social democracy. It's not the People's National Party that ought to protect the rule of law. And when you see another country has been attacked like that, one of your political allies have been attacked like that, because not really because of political ideology, because of the resources beneath their feet. And the PNP is silent on it. If it was the PNP in power, would the American take them and push them and spin them around same way? I guess pretty much the same. I guess pretty much the same can everybody want to go America. Hmm? But Jamaica people, prepare yourself. Prepare yourself for a rough life going forward. Because it's not over in Venezuela yet. This is just the end of the beginning. This is just the end of the beginning. Because Hugo Chavez people, Maduro people, the leftist people who hate everything American are still alive and well. Why do you think the Americans refuse to put boot on the ground? The Americans know they're not capable of fighting a guerrilla warfare in Venezuela. They know they're not capable of controlling the terrain of Venezuela. The vice president of Venezuela is in charge, not Donald Trump. The vice president of Venezuela is in charge, not Donald Trump. For Donald Trump to be in charge, Americans would have to be on the ground running the show. It is not so. The Venezuela Constitution is in its exercise. And when the president is incapacitated, the vice president is in charge. That is what is happening in Venezuela now. So don't let any of those shouting labor rights go around and tell you, oh, the PNP ally in Venezuela is this, is that. Venezuela is free. Any country in the Western Hemisphere is under bondage and need freedom is America. Any country in the Western Hemisphere is under bondage and need freedom is America. Socialism is still alive in Venezuela. All right? So, me just going to keep this to the program here tonight because I did want to give my whole view on the Venezuela issue, but made a wait until sensible people start speak. And there's a journalist in Venezuela called Diego. I can't pronounce his last name. I have been following up a lot on Diego's information as a journalist on the ground. So, adesso, me follow to get my information on Venezuela from, because yesterday whole day I refused to believe the information that was put out by Donald Trump. Because you know Donald Trump always put out blatant lies or misleading information, so I refuse to go on his information. But this is not an overthrow of the Venezuela government, nor the Venezuela regime. What it is, it's a kidnapping of the president of a sovereign state, which is a violation of the United Nations Charter, Article 2, Paragraph 4. Thank you very much for being here with us tonight. I hope I give you my understanding of the whole aspects of things, the international law that is entangled here. And I have no doubt that Nicaragua will be taking a case to the International Court of Justice. And the longer this goes on, the bigger of a celebrity Maduro will become And that's the more global sympathy that Maduro will receive. Let me say this to Donald Trump. You have nothing to gain out of this, because the Venezuela oil field, you're going to have to put a lot of boots on the ground. If you really want to take control of the Venezuelan oil, you're going to have to put a lot of troops on the ground. And you're going to have to also prepare yourself for a lot of dead bodies returning. Thank you very much for being here tonight, right here on Global TV, or Night of International Brouhaha. Join us back tomorrow, where we continue normal scheduling. But where next? Cuba, the Sahel, Nigeria. Where is next? Could it even be Brazil? Remember, Brazil is a BRICS nation that really irritates America and Donald Trump. But if Donald Trump wants to put money in your pocket, why does he put these heavy tax on you, the Americans, that you don't even understand? Say, and a China dollar put tariff ban is you, but the same Donald want put money in a Venezuelan pocket after you kidnap them president and hijack them oil ship. And that's Pete Heges is said, America is back. America. When since America never thief Pete Heges? Pete Heges, can we know America? America thief. So America kidnapping a president and his wife and hijacking oil ship, and you push up your chest, say America is back. America has always been stealing and raping and murdering Pete Heges. It never gone nowhere, all right? It never really gone nowhere. Thank you very much, and good night from Global TV.
Ghetto, run, keep going on, let's process. For children of Israel do really love rights. So just as I and I as a watching man, I run Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I should never hold thy peace. What wrong is going on? Hey, oh, we gonna bust down Babylon walls. Prepare every the way. Prepare every the way for your people. Let's go. Fight down war and crime. Fight down war and crime. Me say Rastafari. War and crime. And do that righteousness. And we love Jah. And we love Jah. Jah Rastafari. And we love Jah. Jah Rastafari. And we love Jah. We love Jah. Jah Rastafari. We love Jah. Jah Rastafari. Preserve our people. Put time away. Put time away again. Listen. Yeah. Just as I and I as a watching man, I run Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I should never hold thy peace while we penalize. Hey, oh, night. We gonna bust down Babylon gates. Prepare every the way. Prepare every the way for Jah Rastafari. Fight down war and crime. Fight down war and crime. Rastafari, war and crime, and build up righteousness. And we love Jah, and we love Jah, and we love Jah, Rastafari, preserve all. And we love Jah, me love Jah. Yeah, the next song is going to be the last song for tonight. And then DJ.
If you don't like missing out on the latest shows but still enjoy classic hits, then Global TV Group 358 is your perfect match. Global TV Group 358 isn't just another channel, it's your ultimate TV experience. From breaking news to binge-worthy dramas and timeless classics, we've got it all. Our unique blend of original content and global favorites means there's something for everyone. And guess what? With GTVG's seamless streaming, you can watch anywhere, anytime. Plus, our interactive features let you be part of the action. So, whether you're a seasoned binge watcher or a casual viewer, Global TV Group 358 is here to keep you entertained day and night. Don't just watch TV, experience it with Global TV Group 358. Subscribe now and never miss a moment.